I'm sitting here with Brian Dohn, who, when he's not running marathons or creating a nuisance on the Rutgers football beat, actually does cover recruiting for Scout.com. Brian, let's get right into it. The Rutgers football recruiting class that they're about to sign. First impressions?
A lot of people, are going to look at this and say, look, it's not a great class. You're missing a lot of marquee names. It's high on projections. There's a lot of kids on here that, they're not going to play their first year, they're not going to play their second year in the program. Third year in the program, they could be really good. They have some really talented kids coming in, and one of them that I've talked about a lot to other people is a kid, Kamoko Toure, out of Barringer High. He's 6'4", 210 pounds, defensive end. He needs to be about 20 pounds heavier, 25 pounds heavier, just be able to get on the field. He's played 1 year of varsity football, but he is incredibly explosive, fast. I mean, he is one of those kids that, he's got world-class athleticism. He's 6'4", he's a 10'6" long jumper, a broad jumper rather. Guys like that, there's a few of them in the class.
Scout.com ranks Rutgers recruiting class 29th nationally and first in the Big East. Of the 24 recruits, 11 of them are from New Jersey. How do you think they did in New Jersey?
It's about what I expected. People are going to be disappointed because they didn't get a lot of the top-tier talent, but you know what? It didn't matter if Kyle Flood was the coach, Greg Schiano, Vince Lombardi. It didn't matter. There were kids out there. Greg Webb, one of the top players in the state down in South Jersey, he wasn't going to Rutgers regardless. He loved North Carolina. He was going to go there, or he's going to go to Penn State. Garrett Sickles, from the Jersey Shore at Red Bank Regional, he loved Penn State. As soon as he got that offer, that's where he was going. And, there's kids like that all along, all throughout the state. Eli Woodard down in South Jersey, he's going to Ohio State. That's where he was going to go. And we knew that going into the recruiting class. I remember last year at signing day talking about how they're going to struggle with some of the top guys in state because of that. Overall, they got a lot of really good players. T.J. Keller out of South Brunswick, I think, is a guy that people slept on a lot. Not a lot of people recruit South Brunswick, but he's a 6'2" kid who's either going to play safety or outside linebacker. And to me, those are the kids that make up this class. T.J. needs to get a little bigger, figure out where he's going to play, but he's incredibly athletic, runs great. Nadir Barnwell, who's going to miss most of spring practice because he had shoulder surgery from an injury during the season, he's got a chance. And then also Delon Stevenson, kid from Saraville, who spent a postgraduate year up in upstate New York. He's got a chance to play. He's played safety his whole life. He's going to get a chance at cornerback. I think the world of Delon as a player. He's 6'1", 190, runs really well, crazy athletic, but a lot like South Brunswick, Saraville doesn't get recruited really hard, so people don't realize how good the players are there. I think if he doesn't play as a freshman, I'd kind of be disappointed.
Strengths, weaknesses, where do they hit well and where maybe they didn't do so well?
Well, I think where they didn't do well is they wanted to get a little more linebacker. They wanted to get another marquee linebacker. They're in the running for a kid out of Florida who right now is leaning towards South Carolina. They may, wind up getting somebody else there, but I think from that standpoint, they wanted another guy, another outside linebacker type, and also, they wanted to land another offensive lineman, and at this point that didn't happen either. They want to tackle, not a guard, so it's real specific. They filled their needs, and then the biggest one is the punter. They had a kid signed, he was enrolled, he was already taking classes, working out with the team, and then they find out, that he lied and he was ineligible. And so he goes back to Australia, and now they're scrambling to find a punter. And as anybody saw this team last year, they need somebody who can punt because they struggled with it last year, and he was still the best they had.
I know it's kind of hard for you to say because you cover this, but you ever marvel at Kyle Flood's going to sit up there on Wednesday and talk about all these guys who no one's really ever seen, but recruiting has become such a big deal. You ever marvel just how popular? Obviously it pays the bills for you, but you ever marvel at
I do. No, I laugh at it. And yeah, in all honesty, 60% of these kids usually will pan out. When we say nobody's seen them. Rutgers has seen them, we've seen them, so we get that.
But the general
the
Rutgers
casual fan doesn't see it. But if you want, you can check it out. But anyway, I laugh at it because I cover it because it's fascinating, and it's no different to me than covering a football team or a coaching staff or anything like that. I just laugh at it because people get so bent out of shape that some 17-year-old has the gall to change his mind.
You just give me a sense on what the next 2 days are going to be like. Are there going to be some last-minute signings? I mean, they're at 23 right now. You think there could be a couple surprises before signing day?
There are a couple kids out on the board who could be surprised, really, that could happen. The numbers are really irrelevant because they have a couple kids who came in early, so you can have 25 in a minute. I mean, you can have 25 in a class, and so they get some guys coming in early, so you can actually pull more in. So for that, I find that number irrelevant in this sense, but I expect them to get at least one or two more.
Brian Dohn, marathon runner and recruiting analyst. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.